Hello Daily Drafters and welcome back to the channel for today's daily draft. We are once again drafting Wilds of Eldraine today. Today will be the third video on demand for Wilds of Eldraine, not counting early access and live streams, which are also a part of the channel. For those of you that are new, we've got live streams going on, we've got VOD content going on, we've got everything going on here on the channel. Wilds of Eldraine, having a great time. First two VOD drafts went pretty well, if I say so myself. Can we keep up the streak? Odds are no, but we're about to find out. See you in Pack 1, Pick 1. Alright, what do we got here? Elusive Otter, 1 mana, 1/1 prowess. Creatures with power less than it can't block it. Then it has an adventure of Grove's Bounty. Distribute X +1/+1 counters among any number of target creatures you control. So, I think in a blue-red deck you can play this. It's also great in blue-green because it's a blue and green card. What else do we have here potentially? Cut in, find common here. 4 mana for 4 damage to a creature and a young hero roll token. Stockpiling Celebrant is a card I really do like. There is also Cooped Up here. And Stab Wound. All of these cards pretty good here. I don't like blue very much in the format, but I think this can go in 2 decks. The only blue deck I like is blue-red spells. It can go just fine in that deck. And if we do happen to play blue-green, which isn't a deck I've played, but a deck I'd be willing to try out, I think it can also be just fine in that deck. So what can we take here? Restless Vinestalk is the blue-green creature land. I don't know if I want to take this one this early. These are good, but it's pretty early for that. There is Witchstalker Frenzy here, though, which is probably just going to be the pick. 4 mana, deal 5 at instant speed, and it's most of the time at least 3 or 2 mana. Sometimes 1 mana, deal 5 at instant speed, which is just insane. Goes well with the Otter in blue-red if we end up going down that path. I don't think we wheel the Sprite or the Torch the Tower here, but those would be outstanding to come back. Everything else, probably not great. So let's go ahead and take Frenzy. Well, here's Edgewall Inn. Taps to add a mana of any color, so we could even splash like the adventure off of the Otter here, off of Edgewall Inn, and it can sacrifice to return a card from your graveyard to your hand that has an adventure, including the Otter. What else is competing for that here? We've got Imidane's Recruiter, if we just kind of wanted to ditch the Otter and go red aggro, but I don't think I want to do that. And then a bunch of kind of nothing down here. I think I want to take the Edgewall Inn. I think this card is great fixing, great upside with adventures, and yeah. Alright, if we're thinking blue-red, there's Ice Out, Witch's Mark. That's probably it here. There's also Stormkeld Vanguard and Curse of the Werefox. Both of these cards are great. We could splash a Frenzy in a blue-green deck, and the Stormkeld Vanguard is very good. 6 mana, 6/7, can't be blocked by creatures power 2 or less, and it has a sorcery to destroy an artifact or enchantment, which usually hits something in this set. I think I'll go ahead and take the Vanguard here over the Curse. Interesting. Okay, Ferocious Werefox, only green card, is a green card that I like. But boys, there are a lot of good cards in other colors as well. Misleading Motes, fine removal spell. Mocking Sprite, good in blue-red. Dutiful Griffin, 5 mana 4/4 flyer with upside, great. Ashiok's Reaper. Hopeful Vigil, potentially the best or second best white common in this set. Ginger Brute, a fine aggro card. There's a lot going on here, and I don't exactly know what to do. I think I'll take the moats because it bridges the gap between blue-green and blue-red here. And it's a decent-ish removal spell. That's a really close one. Wow, that is a late Glass Casket. Pick 6? There's also Garrick's Uprising. In blue-green, this would be great. There's a cut-in for the blue-red deck here. Wow, there's a Root Rider Fawn for blue-green. There's a lot going on with this pack. I could have very easily switched. Well, I don't think I could have very easily switched into white, but it looks like it would have been the correct choice with the Glass Casket pick 6. I think I'll take the Fawn and lean towards blue-green ramp here and see if we get paid off for that. Now there's a Grotto, an Alchemist. I guess Alchemist hedges toward blue-red. 2 mana, 1/3. That becomes a 3/3 when you cast an instant or sorcery once each turn. You can also get an instant or sorcery back on top of your library. I don't really like Lectern or Admire. Crystal Grotto seems potentially fine in whatever we're doing here. This Alchemist also makes our Edgewall in even better. We'll now have 3 creatures that it can get back. Let's go ahead and take the Alchemist. Now we've got Snaremaster's Sprite, but this isn't really the kind of deck that's going to maximize this. There's also Spell Stutter and Return from the Wilds. I think I'll take Return from the Wilds as another ramp card, another way to splash Witchstalker Frenzy, and it seems like a decent inclusion here. Witchstalker, Disdainful Stroke, and Freeze into place. I think we'll just go ahead and take the Witchstalker, and if we need some 2s, we can include it. If not, who cares? Glory, Slumbering Keep Guard. There is a Candy Trail. I think I'll go ahead and take the Candy Trail. Don't know if I'll play it. 1 mana ETB Scry 2, and then you can sacrifice the food and also draw a card because it's a food clue. Alright, some blue is coming back here. Water Wings is a combat trick. Coral Smith is just a fine-ish 3-drop creature. We'll go ahead and take that. Alright, all the blue's coming back, so blue could be open here. I don't think I want the Living Lectern. We've already got a Witchstalker, which I think is potentially even better in this deck. So let's just take the Counterspell here. Very interesting first pack. There's definitely a few ways you could have gone with that. It's still early on in the format. This is draft number 3 here on the channel, and I haven't played blue-green at the time of this recording. So, you know, trying it out seems fine to me. Look at that, Mocking Sprite did come back. We've got a couple of green cards, but like if we open a couple of really, really good red cards in pack 2, I don't see a reason why we can't just be straight blue-red. The Return, the Witchstalker, the Fawn, I mean, all these cards aren't like reasons to be drafting green necessarily. Like if we also open Johann, you know, the blue-red uncommon, we can take that. So there's plenty we can do here. So what can we do? Yenna is green-white, and great in green-white, but not for us. There's Chancellor of Tales. 4 mana 2/3 flyer. Whenever you cast an adventure spell, you may copy it and choose new targets for the copy. That text is on a banned card in Standard. Well, not anymore. It was at the time. Lucky Clover. I think we're like highly incentivized to play blue right now. Currently have this adventure and the Otter adventure, as well as Vanguard if we were to go green. It's either that or like Quick Study here. I think this has the highest upside. We can also build around it for 2 full packs, which is notable. Oh man. Wow, what a pack. Okay. Root Rider Fawn. Great ramp. Torch the Tower. Great removal spell in red. Graceful Takedown. Pretty good removal spell in green. I don't know how much we're going to be taking advantage of that here. Utopia Sprawl. Outstanding ramp. And Archive Dragon. One of the best ramp targets in the set. We don't have any payoffs for casting spells that cost 5 or greater yet. This is really close between the Dragon and the Sprawl. I think I'm going to take the Sprawl. It's very difficult to not have this be outstanding in your deck. An Archive Dragon, I think we can get something like this a little bit later. Like, you know, my favorite card in the set, Hamlet Glutton. It's not as good as Archive Dragon, I don't think, but it's still pretty good at the top end. Oof. Frolicking Familiar. How many instants and sorceries do we have? 5? What else is our options? Splashy Spellcaster. It's pretty good. I would definitely play that in blue-red. Balluna's Gatekeeper is a great tempo play for blue-green, but again, we don't have the payoffs for blue-green. We do have the ramp, though. We have Utopia Sprawl and Root Rider Fawn and Return from the Wild. So these expensive cards, they're kind of like the payoffs. I do think blue-red was an option to go in this draft, for sure. And a third pick, Frolicking Familiar, proves that. But I'm also betting that blue-green is going to be open for us here. Alright, Candy Grapple. Do we try to splash this? And I don't care about Lectern in this deck. I don't really care about Sprite in this deck. And Brave the Wilds would be good, and I would definitely play 1 or 2 of these. But can we be greedy and take the Candy Grapple? We have the Utopia Sprawl can splash for black. We have Root Rider Fawn can splash. We have Edgewall Inn that could splash. We have Return from the Wilds that can splash. I think we can afford to take a Candy Grapple here. We're not missing out on a ton. I think it's the best card in the pack by a lot. So this is going to be interesting. I'm curious if we're going to get any of the payoffs for our deck here. You know, like pick 5 or 6. Man, more blue-green. I mean, blue-red. There's a Prophetic Prism and an Evolving Wilds. Another Frolicking Familiar here. I think the blue-red train has sailed, unfortunately. I would have to give up on a lot of cards to go straight blue-red. So do I just take the Prism and continue to splash great cards outside of blue-green? There's also the Wilds, which is fine, but the Prism is great because you can also bargain this away if you have to. Let's take the Prism here. Stormkilled Prowler is not the combo you want, or not the payoff you want for this deck. It's a card I would probably play, but I think I'm going to take Into the Fey Court for some card draw and card advantage. Royal Treatment is great. Mocking Sprite seems fine as well, but let's take Into the Fey Court here. Not quite on the wheel yet. We've got Obira and Greta. Interesting. But there's a Vantress Transmuter, and I think we can go ahead and take this. I don't know if I'm actually going to play it. Could I splash Greta? We're not making a ton of food is the thing. I think we could still splash Greta, though. It's probably better than Transmuter. I don't think Obira is better, though. So let's see if we can splash Greta here. It's going to be a spicy deck for sure. I have pretty easy moats. There's not much else for us to even consider splashing. Alright, on the wheel, we got Feed the Cauldron back. We got a Sprite and a Witch Stalker. I think I'll take Feed the Cauldron. And just look to continue to take Fixing, I guess. I don't think I'm playing any of the cards in this pack, so I'll throw Sprite into the board here. Probably not the deck for a combat trick. I don't know about Candy Trail. Currently have 10 creatures. Frolicking Familiar came back. Holy cow. Okay, so literally nobody's in blue-red. Blue-red is open, but red is not open, if that makes sense. We haven't seen very many red cards outside of pick 1 or 2, where we passed a couple to torch the towers. I do really like Spellsworn Coven as well. This is very difficult. Very difficult draft here. I don't know what we are. Is the answer black? Virtue of Persistence. 2 mana, sorcery, -3/-3, gain 2 life. And then eventually you just start dumping graveyard, or cards from the graveyard into the battlefield for free. There's another dream, or not another, but there is a Dream Spoilers with 6 instants. That's pretty good. There's a Vanguard, there's another Edgewall in. There's some green cards here, but we've got Feed the Cauldron, Candy Grapple, Spellscorn Coven. So maybe we're like black-green, maybe splashing a couple of blue cards or something? I don't know. But this seems pretty good. Let's try that out. Or are we blue-black, maybe? We've got a Johann Stopgap. There's a Crystal Grotto and Evolving Wild. These would be great. There's also Welcome to Sweet Tooth, but I don't think we're much of a food deck. There's another Edgewall in, which is great. We could be blue-black. Let's take the Stopgap here. Now there's Johann. There's more fixing in Scarecrow Guide. There's another Stopgap. There's Royal Treatment. I think we're off of green at this point. So I take away that. I take away that. Probably take away this. That means Sprawl is not in and Fawn would not be in. Maybe we splash Greta and then we're looking like blue-black now? And then maybe the Sprite gets better? Let's try this. Okay, Misleading Most number 3, Ice Out number 2, Spreading Seas, 2 mana, Enchant Land. Enchanted Land is an island. It's also bargain fodder once they don't care about this. Another Sprite, but we don't really have the blue-black payoffs. There's Rowan's Grim Search, which is good. Man, this deck is wild. Maybe we're just control. Blue-black control. I mean, here's another counter spell, I guess. Let's take that. Alchemist, Sprite, Torch the Tower coming around pick 6. Like, what is going on? Okay, so that was one of the weirder routes to blue-black that I've ever seen. We currently have 8 instants, 3 sorceries, and 12 creatures. And our curve says, don't really want any more 4s. But I don't think I want a Prowler or a Rat Out or a Dark Tutelage. Let's try Spellcaster here. Blue-white very late. Guess we'll take the Assassin. Don't know if I'll play it. Dream Spoilers did wheel with 9 instants. I think this card's going to be great. So we're probably cutting Prowler. Alchemist seems like it might actually be okay. Otter seems like it probably is okay. Crystal Grotto can help splash Frenzy and Greta here. But how many fairies do we have? 7 fairies? So the Barrow Naughty is also pretty good. I don't think we need to splash Greta. I think we can get away with splashing Frenzy. No one's in blue-red? Yeah, what a draft. Sometimes things become very difficult, but that's what makes Magic great. You have drafts like this sometimes where it's so confusing on what to do, and there's so many routes you could have taken here to kind of end up wherever you wanted to end up. It was very interesting. Probably don't need Greta. I think the Frenzy Splash is close to free with the Prism and in. Well, it's not free. We just need to run 1 mountain, probably. Rowan's Grim Search. That's a great card draw spell we can main deck. Everything else here seems okay. Now we're just going to have to figure out how to make cuts. We have a lot of cards to cut. Okay, so we run definitely 17 lands, probably looking like this. What are the cards that kind of stick out as not being great here? Coral Smiths or whatever. Alchemist is... I think Alchemist is fine. These two sprites work with Barrow Naughty. Works with... Is that it? Is that the only card we have that cares about early fairies? Well, Spell Stutter works better with Spell Stutter. I think the Prism is good. I don't think we need the Assassin. We probably don't need Candy Trail. We only have 2 bargain cards, I think. Grim Search and Candy Grapple. Gatekeeper seems okay. Virtue is fine. Chancellor. How many adventure creatures do we have? 1, 2, 3, but we're probably not casting that. 4, and we're also probably not casting that. So kind of like 2. And we do have to cut some 4s here, so I think Chancellor probably ends up on the chopping block. Could potentially cut a counterspell. Let's cut 1. Currently still have 12 spells. 11 spells, sorry. Still need 3 cuts, though. Let's cut 1 Coral Smith. How many creatures do we have? 12 creatures. Is the Spellcaster good? Seems good to me. Do we have to play Frenzy here? We've got Grapple, Spell Stutter, Ice Out, Feed the Cauldron, double Stopgap, double Moats, Dream Spoilers, potentially. I don't think we actually need the splash here. So we need 1 more cut then? As good as the Witchstalker Frenzy is, I don't think we need it. Which means, does Prism just get cut now? Probably so. And then we're just straight blue-black? Wow, that is a weird route to blue-black. Did not think we were ending up there. What do we end up with now? 10 spells and 12 creatures. 1 enchantment here. Sure. No idea if this is any good. We could have had a much better deck if we had just been streamlined. Currently have 6 fairies. That's fine. 2 on turn 1 to make Spell Stutter better. Yeah. I mean, let's try it out. No idea if it's going to be any good or not, but you're going to find out with me after a wild roller coaster of a draft. See you in game 1. Alright, and here we are in game 1, and we go first with a little bit of a slow hand, but once again, if you've got 2 of each of your colors of mana, it's very difficult to want to mulligan that kind of hand. So, let's go ahead and keep this here. And probably play Mocking Sprite on 3. Makes all of our spells cheaper next turn, potentially. If it does survive. Although, against red-white, there's a decent chance it doesn't. Although, I'm probably just playing Dream Spoilers next turn, and then if we cast any one of these instants on their turns, we can just kill the mice. Which would be great. See if Sprite survives. Kind of does. It does still give us the discount on our spells, which is good. Alright, do they have Torch the Tower now is the question. Torch the something. I think it's Torch the Tower. If they had Torch the Tower, wouldn't they have just killed the Mocking Sprite with that? So I don't think they do. So let's go ahead and play Dream Spoilers here. I know they've got priority, but if they have Torch the Tower, then good for them. I just would have thought they would have used that. Okay. Land would be pretty good. That would allow us to cast Moats and Coven, or Coralsmith and Coven. Sure, still holding up the red here. Don't have any bargain fodder for this, but that's not the end of the world. 2 mana instant speed, draw 2, lose 2, it's fine. I think they have Monstrous Rage, potentially. So what if I held this back, blocked here, they went for the Monstrous Rage, I returned it to their hand, and gave the mice -1/-1? Or just blew them out with moats and gave the mice -1/-1? I think it's Monstrous Rage. It could be +1/+0 and First Strike. You know what? I'm gonna see if I can get him with that. We're the control deck here, so we just need to stabilize and clear their board. Crystal Grotto, Scry 1. I have to make sure they can't respond to my trigger here and celebrate giving the mice +0/+2. But if it's Monstrous Rage, then well, that celebrates immediately. So I have to do, I could do Coven. They can't recast it. And I can still do search here. So it is the Rage, so that means I now do this. And then kill it anyway. And that worked out pretty darn well for us, I would say. Go ahead and be mana efficient here and just play this. Make them discard a card while they still have cards in their hand. We'll see if we find a land, particularly an island. I wonder if I'm playing too many swamps in this deck. I'll have to go check after this game here. Oh god, I've played against this card so many times. It's a Plague Wind. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous, man. I can stopgap their bird. Okay, well, they're still red-white. We still have a lot of cards in hand and removal. And we are 1 mana away from Virtue, which is just gonna win the game immediately. Yeah, I mean, Virtue will win. Didn't draw it here, so we'll go Barrow, Naughty, and probably hold up Moats and Ice Out. I think this should probably be fine. Put it on top. Missed another land. This isn't a fairy. It also makes us tap out of both of these things. What if I pumped here? That would give me 3 mana left, so I couldn't cast Moats. Let's just do damage. Spellstutter counters unless they pay 3 right now, which they currently can. So would I rather ice out their Belligerent or just Moats it again? I think I'll just cast Moats again. Again, if we can just find a land, we basically win. But nope. We are finding action, though. So that's the good news about where we're at, is that we can draw action or lands, and all of that is good as long as we have the Virtue sitting over here. Sure. I will kill this on on their turn. I know if I do it on mine, I get a food. But if I draw a land, I'm just slamming the Virtue here. So let's see if they have a combat trick or something. Well, it doesn't even matter because it's mana value, not even power or toughness. So there is the land. So let's start by just getting in there. Really hope they don't have enchantment removal. Even if they do, I think we're okay. Yeah, there we go. Virtue for the win. All right. Kind of hummed along there for us. That worked out all right. All right, on the draw this time, turn 1 Sprite if we want it. Turn 3 Familiar or Sprite. I think the hand is a keep. I did go ahead and cut 1 Swamp for another island here. Bramble, Familiar, and I can't do a darn thing about it. Okay. Here comes the ramp. Here comes a 4-drop. Or not. Okay, just a 3. So I guess what do I want to get countered? The answer is Coralsmith, so I'll just let them counter the Coralsmith here. I'm not going to do nothing, because then I pass my whole turn as well. So if they want to counter the Coralsmith, I'll let them do it. Okay, they didn't have anything. Interesting. That means their whole hand is like 5 and 6 drops, which is kind of scary. Can't really do much about that. They chose not to cast Tempest Heart last turn, or they just top-decked Tempest Heart. Alright, there's the Otter, so I can cast, like, Otter and Familiar, and then just, like, have a ton going on. Moats their next play and just smack them for, like, everything. Conversely, I could cast Dream Spoilers, potentially kill their Familiar next turn, but I only have one way to cast a card at instant speed here, so I think I'm going to do Otter and Familiar. Now we've got a good amount of flying here. If they just tap out for some dorky 5-drop or something, we can moats it. And then swing. Okay, that's a dorky 4-drop. I might not even need to moats that. So what if I did this and then the Gatekeeper on Bramble Familiar? Get these triggers, hit them for 4 in the air, I guess? And now we got a bunch of flyers. Down goes Familiar with a great card in Gingerbread Hunter. This card is insane. This card is so good. So if I do Misleading Moats right now on their Tempest Heart, I can get in with everything pretty effectively. They block the Otter and then they take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 down to 4. And I still have 3 power in the air. Yeah, I think I'll do that. They'll block the... They don't... they could block the Otter. Yeah, okay. So let's... just smack them down to 4 here. And they're not dead on board if they play Hunter, because they can gain 3 life and have a 5/5. Well, that works too. They're starting to get their chunky things out. Blue-green, big spells. I mean, they weren't dead. I don't know why they conceded, because they had a 6/6 and a 5/5, and they were effectively at 7 life. So maybe they just saw the writing on the wall with all the flyers. Who knows? Either way, we'll take the win. Alright, we go first again with all colors of mana, and once again a slow hand, but Every time I have both colors of my mana in things I can cast in my hand, Alright, so they have Rat Out. We just figured that out. Every time they play a swamp and get priority on first turn, they have Rat Out, which means the Sprite is going to be quite bad here, unfortunately. So, what that means I have to do is just cast Familiar here because they can Rat Out the Sprite. Would have loved to be able to cast Blow Off Steam to kill the Monstrosity, but not so lucky. Voracious Vermin. No blocks. So now we can counter their Rat Out, but if they play it first, how many... So we counter it unless they pay 3 with Spell Stutter. The thing is, if they just play land and then play Rat Out, we can't counter it, which does not feel great. But if they miss a land drop or play something before they play Rat Out, we could counter it. That's really tough. We're going to have to get that card out of their hands somehow. Alright, let's try it. Land. Okay, here comes something. No, they're going to do Rat Out first. Yeah, darn. Alright, well... I mean, it was a risk, but I think we're so far behind in this game already that it's going to be tough to come back from here. Kind of no matter what we do. I mean, these decks that go super wide, the control decks in this format, I think are going to struggle with this quite a bit. So... Sacrifice a creature, deals 1 damage to any target. So we almost just kind of, like, lose. That should be fine, because they're gonna... Well, they're gonna sack it to Goblin Bombardment. We can't do anything about that, because Spellstutter still can't counter it, so sure. Yeah, we're dead so many different ways here. Now they can cast their last 2-drop. Of course they can. Alright, so they're just a super aggressive deck that got us pretty easily there. I don't think no matter what we did in that game, there wasn't really any way we're going to beat that deck in that draw. So, can't feel too bad about the whole Rat Out situation. Okay, so I mentioned when we have both colors of our mana that the hands are easy keeps. But this is difficult. We have Candy Grapple and then Feed the Cauldron on 3 if we draw a land, and then if we draw an island, we have Stopgap to bargain away the food, draw an extra card. So I think the hand is fine. We have at least one removal spell we can cast. Any land lets us play Feed the Cauldron, which is good. So I think we'll go ahead and keep this here. Well, this can trade with Monstrosity, so let's just play this. Plan to trade. The grapple can kill something bigger. Okay, they get a food. They play a 2/2. And we miss a land drop. Alright, well, that is the risk of keeping that hand, obviously. But we had 3 looks at a land. I think we've got to keep the hand. Yep, sometimes you lose games of Magic the Gathering to this. You know, can't do anything about it. The hand was a keep. I mean, I stand by it, so here's what it is. I think we've drawn 5 non-lands now. Yep. Yep. Doesn't really matter what we do. Everything we're doing is you're gonna die. Yep. The card advantage. I mean, we're not officially dead, but we are pretty darn close. Nice. All right. 15 cards deep. We finally did it. So we do this. And then stopgap the Scream Puff. Okay. Things happened. I mean, the Virtue could potentially help us come back from this. But it's going to be tough, obviously. Okay, that's another... It's another thing we can actually cast. We have 6 mana. So what if we did Dream Spoilers plus hold up spell stutter, but they have so much mana. What if we did stopgap, hold up, spell stutter? Coralsmith, hold up, coven and stutter? Otter isn't doing much right now. So this counters unless they pay 3. Which they currently do have, so I think we'll get rid of the otter. It's not doing a whole lot here. Take 4. Upkeep. Kill dream spoilers. Sprite lets me tap down Scream Puff and keep it tapped for a turn. We're fighting as much as we can. They still have 5 cards in hand, though. Yeah, we did the best we could with the hand that we had, which wasn't much, unfortunately. I feel like had we just drawn lands... So we double chump here. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and pack this one in. If we had drawn the lands when we could have, we had the tools and got up to 7 mana, could have cast the Virtue, but we missed our 3rd land drop for like 5 turns. You're not gonna win. Alright, we're up first. We have 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop. Yeah, we'll keep this one. And we have both colors of mana, so we don't get mana screwed this game. Isn't it great? Ugh, you gotta love it. Magic the Gathering, folks. Alright, so something we play is going to die here. It's probably going to be the Sprite, but I'm not going to just play around Candy Grapple. They get to kill what they're going to kill. They didn't have it. Alright, cool. 3 mana, Cursed Courtier. Sure. I think I'm going to play Spellcaster first, so... If they get to get rid of this, then at some point I get to Moats or Feed the Cauldron it. It does have lifelink, but... I'm going to go ahead and just get Spellcaster down. We have 3 spells in hand, and this thing is going to start putting sorcerer rolls on our stuff, which is all great. If we draw land, we can go Feed the Cauldron and Misleading Moats, which is all going to be good, or even and Johann Stopgap, whatever we want to do. I'm sure they're going to have a way to bargain away this. They might have actually had Candy Grapple in hand and waited because they knew they had this. So they're going to kill Spellcaster, bargaining away the Cursed Roll. There it is. Exactly what I said, but that's okay. Oh, what a combo. Jeez. Did not see that one coming. Well, we have to kill Cursed Courtier now. We don't really have a choice. So... let's go ahead and do that. And then get rid of this thing. Play the land, because why not? And now the board is clear, but they do have 5 cards in hand. I should have read into the fact that they had Candy Grapple there on turn 2, and when they played this, just killed it, because they had the bargain fodder, you know. It was all quite good for them. Still have priority with 1 black. Could be Rat Out. Could be like the Feigned Death variant. Either way, if they block our Alchemist and then Rat Out or something, we've got moats to kind of protect ourselves a little bit. Sure. Okay. In black-white, Cursed Courtier is just so good. I mean, it's so easy to get rid of this Cursed Roll. I'm less convinced it's Rat Out at this point, because they would have killed the Sprite, I feel. Seven mana. Ashiok's Reaper. And then likely bargaining away this, drawing a card, making a 3/3, and then we're going to moats away their Courtier. So then we do this, and now when they bargain this away, we get to moats away their Courtier. They don't gain any life. They do draw a card, but like, who cares? Because I think they might be dead. Oh, that gets lifelink too, I see. Oh, then it makes a 2/2. Ooh, oh, that's so bad. Okay, so that's one of the better ones they could have had there. They get lifelink on that, so they go to 10. They get another 2/2. So we need to draw something here. Kept a card on top. They go to 11. That's not something. Whew, can we even attack? I don't think we can. I mean, we can offer these trades, but as soon as we get an instant or sorcery, and they've got 2 cards in hand, one that they wanted to keep there. Yeah, that makes things also very tough. Yeah. And then they get things back too. Oh, their deck is just so synergistic. Why did they not get that trigger? When it enters the battlefield, return target creature enchantment. Do they not have one? Oh, okay, that's why. Ha! Eat my 1/1. I think we're officially dead. No, not officially, but very close. So we have to do something like that to survive. Alright, you gotta love the 2-0 to 2-3. Unfortunately. Start out 2-0. 3 is the magic number, and then you go straight into 2-3. So, really feels bad. But the draft was kind of a mess, so I didn't really expect the deck to do a whole lot. We finally lost our kind of streak here in the format. Played against an insanely synergistic deck there in the end, and went from 2-0 to 2-3. Probably the worst feeling behind 6-0 to 6-3. That might be worse than this one, but it is what it is. We're going to have some bad drafts the format. So what? Thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time for your daily draft.